Billy, your Uncle Tommy's joining the call. Get your backside down here.
Right, ma'am. I'll just join from up here. I'll be on in a second.
Oh, hello, Tommy. How are you?
Hello, Charlotte. I'm fine, thank you, dear. Trust you're all fit and well.
Yeah, we're all doing great, thanks, Tommy. I really appreciate you finding the time to help with this. Billy's been struggling with this assignment all week. It's got him really stressed.
Charlotte, it's no trouble at all. Just really good to see you. It's been too long.
Yeah, thanks, Tommy. Billy should be joining us in a moment. You know what kids are like at that age. Billy, hurry yourself up. Your uncle's waiting.
I'm joining now, ma'am.
Hi, Uncle Tommy.
Hello, Billy. Well, I gather you've been having a bit of trouble with your schoolwork.
Yeah, it's been really tough. I've been told to talk to someone who lived through the Second World War, and I just couldn't think of anyone until the other day when Dad suggested I talk to you.
Well, your father is very sensible. So, young man, what is it you want to know?
Well, I did write a few questions down. Yeah, here they are. So were you a soldier?
No, I wasn't. But I did have a very important job. I worked with some incredible people, and some people say the work we did shortened the war by at least 2 years.
Really? I thought Jack told me you were a postman.
Well, he was half right. I worked for the GPO, as it was called then.
The GPO? What's that?
The General Post Office.
Oh, right.
I don't understand, Tommy. How did a postman cut 2 years off the war?
Yeah, I didn't think the letters would have been that important.
Well, young Billy, you've got to remember that back then the post office also ran the telephone system.
Oh, yeah. I remember now. Didn't that part of the post office become what's now BT?
Yes, that's right, Charlotte, but it was all very different back then.
But I still don't get it. How did working on telephones help win the war?
Well, you see, at the time I was working on some of the earliest telephone exchange machines. That's when I got approached to join a special team working in Bletchley. It was early 1941, and Gordon, my boss, he asked me if I'd be interested in helping out. He'd been asked by Alan if he knew anyone who could help them to build a special machine.
Well, I've not heard about any of this. Jack never told me.
Well, that's because he didn't know. It was top secret until a few years ago.
Top secret? Wow, were you a spy?
No. Nothing so glamorous. No. I was just an engineer who built a very special machine.
Oh, what sort of machine? What did it do?
Well, I've got something I can show you. Oh. Now, somewhere up here. Now, can you see what's on this sheet of paper?
Yeah, it's just a bunch of random letters.
Well, this collection of characters could have stopped D-Day.
Really? How come?
Well, this might look like complete gibberish. It's actually a very important message, a message that would have been given to Hitler himself.
Hitler? Wow.
To read it, you needed a special machine called Lorentz and a special set of codes. Now, I've got something here. This is part of that machine. You see, there were 12 of these wheels in the machine. And depending on how you set those wheels using the code, it would change how the message came out. That meant there were about 16 billion different combinations of these codes that could be used to set the machine.
16 billion. Wow.
Exactly. Now, there was no way a person without one of those machines and the code could have decoded that message. So what we had to do was build a machine that could work out which code was used to make each message. And we had to do it within a day. They changed the code every day, you see.
Yeah, but could you not just get a computer to do it?
Young man, back then computers were very clever, lovely ladies who were really good at doing calculations. But even as good as they were, this was beyond their abilities. We had nothing like that laptop you're looking at right now.
Honestly, no computers. How did you do it then?
Here. I knew what we needed for the machine was a lot of valves like the one I've got here.
I remember seeing those. My granddad had an old radio which had a few of them in, and Nan used to say he was always swearing at the thing because they kept burning out, normally right in the middle of the football.
Yes, they did have a reputation for being unreliable, but that's because most people didn't know how to use them properly. You just had to treat them right. They could last for years.
Oh, but what does it do?
It's like an electronic switch, young man. Have you heard of transistors? Those tiny little things that make all these fancy computers and your PlayStation work?
Yes, yeah, we learned about those in physics.
Well, valves like this do the same sort of thing. It's all we had to work with back then, though. Max didn't like the idea as he didn't trust them, much like your granddad and his radio, dear. He wanted something mechanical, but I knew it wouldn't be fast enough. Anyway, I couldn't convince him to support my idea, so I just had to do it myself. Needed 1,800 valves, but I knew we could get it working. See, I'd been using them for years on the old exchanges.
1,800 of those? That thing must have been huge.
Oh, yes. With a name like Colossus, you know, it's not going to be small. That's what we called it then, you see.
How did you even start building something like that?
Piece by piece, dear. It took a team of about 50 of us 11 months to build it. Even though I got some support from Gordon, I still ended up using my own money to complete it so that I could prove it would work. No, it wasn't pretty, but I couldn't have been more proud of what we'd done. We were the first, you see. No one else had built an electronic machine that could be programmed.
So you built the first computer?
In a way, yes. Not like the ones you see today. Oh, no keyboard, no screen. Just lots of switches, buttons and lights. Oh, and this.
It's just full of holes.
Yes. Well, the holes are the important part. That's what told the machine what to do.
Oh, so that's how you program the machine?
That's right. This is just a little piece of the tape. You see how the holes are in rows? We would have 20,000 rows on each tape loop that was hundreds of feet long. It was amazing to watch the machine going at full speed. You could get through 40 foot of tape a second.
Wow.
So, what happened to it?
Well, it helped win the war. Like I said earlier, that message there could have stopped D-Day. Thanks to Colossus, we worked out that this message proved Hitler thought all the D-Day preparations were a feint. This meant he didn't move any more soldiers to Normandy. Eisenhower wasn't going to go ahead with the landings until we showed him the message.
So, you met Eisenhower?
You mean General Eisenhower? We were just learning about him in history last week.
Oh, yes. He had a meeting with the whole team. I remember it like it was yesterday. We handed him the decrypted message. He read it, then turned to his staff and said, "We go tomorrow." The rest, as they say, is history.
Well, I can't believe you've kept all this a secret all this time.
Well, you see, dear, we didn't have a choice. Just because the war ended, it didn't stop the work we were doing. We had a Colossus running until 1960. We wanted to know what the Russians were doing by then.
1960? Wow. Oh, thanks, Uncle Tommy. I bet no one else in my class has anything this good.
You're welcome, Billy. Oh, and next time I come to visit, I'll drop off all the things I've shown you. I don't have a use for them anymore. They're all yours.
That would be so cool. Thanks, Uncle Tommy.
Well, I've no idea that you had to keep all that to yourself all these years. I can't believe how you managed not to let something slip.
It wasn't just me, dear. Everyone who worked at Bletchley was sworn to secrecy. All 10,000 of us.
10,000? Can't believe it never got out. At least I know who I can trust with all my secrets now, though.
Charlotte, my dear, you know you can tell me anything.
Billy, have you got anything else you want to ask your uncle?
Honestly, I've got more than I could have ever expected. Thank you, Uncle Tommy. That was amazing. Is it okay if I go now, Mum? I really need to make sure I get this written down before I forget it.
Yes, of course, Billy. You get yourself away. I'll be putting the tea out in half an hour, mind.
I'll be done by then, Ma'am. Bye, Uncle Tommy.
Bye, Billy.
Thanks again for the call. I'm sure Billy will be bragging about his war hero uncle to his friends for months.
It was my pleasure, Charlotte. Just a shame we couldn't do it face to face. Anyway, I best be off. Need to see to my dinner too. Give my love to Jack when he goes home.
I will do. You take care, Tommy.
Bye, my dear.
Bye. Well, I never.
London calling in the home, overseas and European services of the BBC and through United Nations Radio Mediterranean. And this is John Snell speaking. Supreme Headquarters, Allied Expeditionary Force, have just issued communique number 1. Under the command of General Eisenhower, Allied naval forces, supported by strong air forces, began landing Allied armies this morning on the northern coast of France.